Hey everyone, welcome back to Breakthrough Innovation, where we uncover what it really takes to lead change, create value, and build what's next. I'm JL Heather. Here with me, my co host Preston Chandler. Together, we lead Centered, a firm that helps organizations navigate complexity, spark creativity, and unlock the full potential of their teams through innovation coaching and strategy. Today's guest brings some bold ideas and grounded execution to one of the most overlooked opportunities in clean energy. We're joined by Matt Curry, a business developer, storyteller, and passionate advocate for practical innovation. At ICE Thermal Harvesting, Matt helps industrial and energy clients turn waste heat, a byproduct most companies ignore, into zero emission electricity with no upfront cost. His team's patented modular system and power as a service model are redefining what's possible for ESG, efficiency, and the future of energy. From fresh produce to geothermal plants, Matt's journey proves that innovation can be as pragmatic as it is powerful. Matt, I'm looking forward to hearing some about clean energy. Welcome to the show.
Ditto.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So I think maybe the best place to start, Preston and I love to ask this question in our workshops. What if the opposite were true? I think most companies kind of just assume clean energy and probably to some extent energy in general requires big capital investment. And it sounds like with what you're saying, you've kind of flipped that assumption on its head and you have a no CapEx model. Talk to us a little bit about how that works, what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of our customers, our clients are ones that need, that consume a lot of energy, and they would like to be doing it in a zero emission state. In traditional models, they would have to go purchase very, very expensive equipment and then engage in an EPC process and hire behind it operations, technical maintenance, and then it just becomes overwhelming. Ice thermal harvesting figured out a few years ago that there was a massive hole in the market to aid these people in getting their clean energy without any upfront costs. So ICE maintains ownership of everything and just introduces a power as a service model so that our clients can achieve those dreams, can get that zero emission energy from their own waste with no cost whatsoever. We enter into long-term contracts with these people for just a small price per kilowatt hour, let's say. And so that's how we accomplish that task. Again, ICE owns all the equipment. Our clients don't have to spend a dime.
So basically, you're saying your company takes on the CapEx risk at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's what has provided a wide adoption from coast to coast in just a few short years, including up in Alaska, we're installing today.
Oh, awesome.
Interesting.
Just out of curiosity, who are some of your clients? Anyone we would have heard of?
There are some that I can't talk about right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, but a large natural gas producer, CNX, up in Pennsylvania. We've got geothermal wells in Louisiana. We're in West Texas. We're doing other geothermal projects in California, and then the Alaska project is a fishery actually.
Fishery. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Their power price is ridiculous. They burn diesel to create power. And so just the transportation cost of the fuel alone makes that expensive. And it's a dirty, ugly process to create electricity just from diesels. We're
Yeah.
helping them cut their fuel cost and providing their electricity for them, in a clean way. So it's a double whammy of sorts in a good way.
So I'm assuming you said it's a small cost per kilowatt hour. I'm assuming that that's significantly lower than what they would normally be paying for electricity.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, everybody wants zero emission power. Like that's great. Everybody wants that ESG sort of bent, very, very clean electricity, but let's get down to brass tacks. You have to interface with the entire company, including people who are paying for electricity now. So you really have to be under that cost. That's where ICE has got that super great formula in not only providing that clean energy, but we get underneath that utility cost or the alternative fuel cost. And so it really is a win on either side of that equation.
And the technology you're using, is that something that is patented by ice thermal harvesting, or is that something that's more general?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So, this technology was invented about 150 years ago. You can think of it as like the car, invented 100 years ago, but then has undergone transformation and advances through the years. Well, so has this. Really, the base component of this is called an organic Rankine cycle machine, and it takes the heat and it spins a generator pretty much and creates that electricity. In and of itself, it's widely available, very costly, but in 4 short years, ICE has accumulated already 46 patents on some of our process. Whether this segment has just been totally ignored, I can't say, but we've started thinking out of the box and just really, really making some fantastic headway in a space that is, for all intents and purposes, started in the late 1800s.
That's intriguing. What size of business or size of organization that actually makes sense for you to work with?
Honestly, this is more like industrial power, very large thing. So when we're talking about sizes, we're talking about something established, lots of heat. We need at least 200 degrees Fahrenheit and a pretty good flow. So it's not only the heat, but it has to replenish like an exhaust or a steam loop or a superheated water loop. So you're looking at chemical plants, you're looking at natural gas processing and transmission compressor stations, kilns, recycling processes, geothermal, of course, I said before, you name it. So it's across the map. We are agnostic to the heat source, but as long as you're meeting that rather low temperature threshold and just that flow, we can make power anywhere with anybody's industry.
So, from like an innovation perspective, how did you get to the point that you are? To Jail's earlier point about saying, well, what if the opposite were true? Well, you've kind of proved that the opposite is kind of true. How did you get to that point?
How do we get to doing ICE's business plan? Is that
Yeah,
the
yeah.
question? So, there are it's so tantalizing in order to create your own clean energy from waste heat, which is like the most overlooked energy source that there is. I mean, you have exhaust just blasting to the sky and just being wasted.
Yeah.
In order to gather in order to gather that, you would have to spend a lot of money to do it. Really, the business plan wrote itself. What if we could, provide this for people so that they didn't have to come out of pocket at all up front? It's that large chunk that is really the barrier to entry for or the barrier to adoption, I should say, for all of these industries and all these potential clients. By us keeping ownership of the equipment, we sidestep all of those issues. We sidestep all of their concerns, especially whenever it comes to capital. Nobody really has a budget line that says, hey, we're going to keep $2 million and we are going to create our own energy. Especially whenever you're doing what you do, whether you're creating furniture or refractory bricks or producing oil and gas, you don't have that line item. So that's really the thing that flipped it. And by us getting and talking to our clients and showing them what they can do, we can lead them to these places where they make out economically, they make out environmentally.
I love the idea of working with your clients. Like, how have your clients helped inform product development?
Oh my gosh. Whenever you start working with a client and you demand $0 from them, they're the most helpful people on the planet. Our project for CNX Gas is in the panhandle of West Virginia. And they liked it so much that we expanded it. So we have kind of a version one, our first model, and we're always thinking about how can we improve, how can we improve. Well, CNX liked it so much they signed up to expand it, and so we actually have like version or generation 2, I should say, out there, an improvement upon it together. They like that so much we're about to do a version 3. So it is, by getting constant feedback, check-in meetings, what's working, what's not. And remember, ICE does all the work. It's like, hey, open the door and maybe babysit us if you want to, but we're going to take care of design, engineer, install, maintenance, operation. If something breaks, we fix it. We don't hand them a bill. So people are very open to chat with you about your product whenever it's all on us. It's all on us to make sure it's working. We don't get paid unless our stuff works. So constant feedback and conversation with them is a great thing, mostly because of our business plan.
I love it. And I think it's great when you actually solve a real problem for someone. They're a lot more likely to continue to work with you, not just in a paying fashion, but in a way that provides you value and feedback.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think you found a way to make it truly easy for the customer and identifying what are their actual pain points, what are the obstacles that were getting in the way, and then by solving them in a way that the customer doesn't have to do a whole lot of work for, you made it easy for them to give you money.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely right. So it becomes a major win-win. But I tell you what, there's more to it than just that. Especially when we're talking about harvesting heat from engines, we're not only looking at the exhaust, and engines are just one portion. It could be any process that actually needs cooling. So on these large engines, there is a cooling circuit of engine jacket water. We not only can harvest heat from the exhaust, but also the engine jacket water. It makes the engine more efficient. It doesn't derate as much. And then also it requires less power and to cool that engine. And therefore your preventative maintenance costs go down. So we are looking at not only producing clean power for somebody using a waste heat, but also sort of like a recycled stream. It actually makes their processes more efficient, especially where engines are involved or there's a closed loop system that's in need of cooling. I mean, it's one of those wins where you get in with a client and you lead them through it. The biggest question or the biggest comment I get is, "Well, this sounds too good to be true." And you have to fight that. Like, no, it's not. It's not too good to be true. We're the only ones doing it, but here, take a look. But then you lead them into you talk to five different, you talk to engineering and you talk to facilities and you talk to operations or wherever you are. And then you start talking about all the benefits together: low cost, clean energy, also improvement to your whole system function and efficiency. That's where it really starts taking off.
So it sounds like you've been pretty successful. I'm curious, what are some of the barriers, technical, cultural, regulatory, that you're still struggling with?
It really does come back to that comment I made. It's too good to be true. Like, it sounds like, wait a minute, I don't have to spend any money up front. I don't have to get 15 signatures inside my company. Like, wait, where's the catch? So it's really a perception issue. That's the biggest barrier to overcome is like, no, I'm telling you upfront and honestly, you're going to get all this. You're not going to pay a dime. We're just going to hand you a monthly bill or however you want to do it, a yearly bill, a monthly bill for this power. And that's really it. We're not going to get in your way. We're going to be at the end of the system where heat is just dissipating into the ether, and this is all going to work. Regulatory, we really have overcome all regulatory obstacles, in and of what we've installed today, whether it's because we're zero emission, we're really not under any sort of regulatory anything there. But yeah, it's going back to it. It's just the biggest obstacles are perception. Another big obstacle is, hey, I have to get somebody else on the phone. Can you explain it to them? It just takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Like, hold on, let's get these other people involved. Wait, other people want to hear about it. It's a good news, bad news thing. I'm like, okay, let's schedule more meetings.
Well, as we wrap up, Matt, I'm curious, what would your advice be for someone new, like, yeah, like launching a new product in the energy space? What would your advice be for them? Like, how do they get started? How do they find their customers? What's the best way for them to get the ball rolling?
Man, a lot of conversation is really the way to go. This waste heat to power organic Rankine cycle system that I explained was really invented in the 80s. To a lot of people, it's a new technology. Even invite them to look up sort of case studies and things, or just to get them familiar. You almost have to like wet their whistle with a little bit of this. So my advice to somebody trying to break into something is you got to make yourself known. LinkedIn is one of your best friends, and you have to speak with a megaphone. And then, talk loudly enough where you do get that attention. Have many, many conversations. The technology is going to carry itself. If you have a good business plan, that will also carry itself. And it's sort of a long road at first, but more success breeds even more success and faster adoption.
Well, Matt, I really appreciate all your time and insights today. It's been really interesting learning about what ice thermal harvesting does. It sounds like a big part of the innovation is just figuring out how to get the heat out of whatever system you're connecting to, which just sounds fun to me. What are the best way for people to get into contact with you and your company?
Well, first of all, you can find me on LinkedIn, a combination of Matthew Curry and ice thermal harvesting. But on our website, our web page is ice dash for thermalharvesting.com, ice-th.com. And on there, if you want to send us an email, there is an info link. You can use that.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
So thank you again for the time. For everyone else who's listening, if you know of anyone who might be in the market for some thermal heat for some extra power generation with no emissions, share this episode with them. We'd love you to introduce them to Matt and his company. After you've done that, leave us a comment. Tell us a little bit about where you're getting your energy. And then, that 5-star rating doesn't hurt either. Matt, thank you again. Everyone else who's been listening, thank you as well. And we'll see you all next time on Breakthrough Innovation.
Thanks,
Thank you
Matt.
so much. Thank you.